anxiety relief. Before we begin, find a spot in which you can lie down in a silent space. If you find it more comfortable to sit up, then do that. This is all about making sure you are comfortable in the space you have chosen. There is no rush. When you are ready, we can commence the session. Comfortable? Great. Let's begin to relax. Close your eyes. Lie your hands by the side of your body. Leave your legs uncrossed. And listen to your breathing. How is it? Are you breathing fast or slow? Let's practice our first breathing exercise.
For anyone just barely hopping on to the live, and for anybody just coming in, I want you guys to know we're going to be doing a guided meditation for the next 5-10 minutes. So this will happen every single call. Before we start any call, we will start with a guided meditation. If you wish to join us, simply close your eyes and listen to your breathing and listen to what the audio has to say. See you guys here in a few minutes.
Focus on your breathing, then try to control it. Let's take a deep breath in. Feel the oxygen fill your lungs. And now, exhale. Very good. This time, when we breathe in, let's absorb positivity with inhaling and exhale negativity. Are you ready? Then inhale and exhale. Wonderful. Let's repeat this 3 more times. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in again and breathe out. In and out. Very good. We shall continue to breathe like this as we practice the second breathing exercise. Imagine you are at the tops of the stairs. There are 10 steps to the bottom. Like the last exercise, let each inhale the positivity and exhale the negativity. Take a step down the stairs as you exhale. Each step is a step closer to complete relaxation. As you get closer to the bottom, allow your mind and body to enter a complete state of relaxation. Let's go down the first step. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. In again. And out. With me. In and out. Breathe in and breathe out. One more time with me. In and out. Breathe again. In and out. One last deep breath in and breathe out. And now let's take our final step. Breathe in and breathe out. Great job. Continue to be aware of your body. Allow your mind to wander. Absorb the sense of relaxation. You've done a great job today. Now you are prepared to continue to be centered, focused, and more relaxed. Thank you for listening.
Alright, guys. Do me a favor, drop some sevens in the chat if you're feeling more relaxed, more aligned, more at peace, more certain of what we're doing. Right? That's the goal of these meditations, of these calls, is to grow in every aspect and improve all of our aspects of our lives. Because meditation doesn't only improve our trading, but it will improve all the aspects of our lives. So drop some sevens in the chat if you're feeling ready for the charts. Drop some sevens in the chat if you're feeling ready for this week. If you're ready to crush it this week, right? Drop some sevens in the chat if you guys can hear me loud and clear and you guys can see my screen. Awesome. Thank you guys. Good morning. It is 7:34 a.m. here in Utah. And we just had the monthly closures. So it's not only the start of the week, but it's the first trading day of the month in terms of July. Okay. So we're going to take it back to the monthly. Now, guys, I really like this accumulation that took place here at the previous monthly low. This could be the start of an accumulation schematic. Now, it is bearish here on the monthly. Yeah, we are bearish here on the monthly. But personally, if we do short below these lows, I would love to see if we can make it back up here prior to. So on a weekly perspective, looking at our entire range, okay, we're still playing within this previous range created. Okay, as we've been playing within this previous range, um, just kind of looking at this accumulation that took place below the lows. Okay, on a weekly perspective, we see this accumulation that took place below the lows. Now, this accumulation really wouldn't be too significant if it wasn't that it took the low prior to the accumulation starting. So that accumulation does get my attention. Now here, looking at this whole range, last week we made it back into this imbalance and into 50% or above of this range. Now, we haven't really, in this range, we haven't taken out internal liquidity, but just know that here, okay, this is that monthly low. I mean, that monthly high. Give me one sec. Let me make sure that we can see that throughout. See where this is at. Yeah. To me, we have yet to take out any major liquidity 50% or above. So maybe we can do that today. I mean, this week. Okay. One thing I am looking at is two things get my attention. Is this area that has yet to be played with. Okay. So we're going to take out this line right here for study purposes. We're just going to keep all this stuff out. Okay. We're only going to keep the stuff that we're currently focused on. So this current unmitigated area right here, right? And then I guess you can call this your breaker. Okay. That unmitigated breaker. We did tap into the high of it and reject, but we also came into this insufficiency. So now I am looking at this area still, and still looking at this previous weekly area. Okay, if you see, we ended up closing fairly close, fairly similar to where we opened, right? Around the same area, just a really big fat doji. We are currently respecting that bearish imbalance. And not just that, but I am looking at this bearish imbalance here to the left. Okay, 50% and above. And you can just kind of see the overlap between the two. And that area is still being respected even today. We did tap back into that insufficiency. And so I want to see if today we get some rejection towards the downside. Now, again, I'm just pointing out liquidity. We don't have to take out that high to move lower. Okay, but for the time being, I feel like we have a narrative to make it lower. Now here's where I'm personally leaning away from this low. Okay, check this out. Going into the weekly, you can see we swept previous weekly low here, previous weekly low here, and in this area here, we have already swept all that liquidity. So running to the upside, after we took out liquidity, we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay, we are in this previous area of distribution, which is giving us this rejection. Okay, we did take out internal liquidity of this daily range here, and just kind of looking at that on a weekly perspective here on the right, you can see that the weekly may look like we're rejecting to the downside. So that's really where the bearish bias is coming in. It's just purely from this weekly perspective. But if we're looking in direction, okay, the aggressive impulsive moves were to the downside, the most recent ones, and the insufficiency was created towards the downside. Okay, at the moment we have yet to go beyond this current bearish imbalance, so we'll leave that area there. Okay, for today, really this entire range here gets my attention. Okay, so I will need a little bit more data for the weekly. I'm gonna allow that to develop. For now, I'm gonna focus on more of an intraday perspective and just focus on today, looking at shorts from that weekly imbalance to that previous daily low, getting us back into this previous area of accumulation. So that's really the overall objective, is getting us back to this unmitigated candle below previous daily low. Okay. That's for me in terms of the dollar. We do have this 4-hour accumulation in this previous area of accumulation, but honestly, we distributed up top above the highs, and that's really what Like this can happen, but unless it happened below the lows, this right here really gets my attention. We came into this previous area of accumulation, accumulated to the upside. You guys see this Monday to Tuesday gap right here that we also traded into. Okay, stop price action dead in its tracks and then reversed it. But again, 4 hour accumulation after we got the distribution. Okay, that distribution above the highs does get my attention. This 1 hour accumulation could hold to continue moving slightly more to the upside. This could simply just be a slight rejection from the weekly perspective from this imbalance. But again, for me, because the lows have already been taken, the only liquidity to the downside that I believe is relevant is the daily. And in terms of the weekly perspective has already taken out a substantial amount of liquidity. I'm still going to leave this area marked up, or we're going to leave this area noted just in case we do end up rejecting towards the downside. That's really like the overall area that I could see holding the last point of bullishness. But right now, on the daily perspective, this is my area of interest, is down here for continuing the longs. So for now, I want to see if we make it down here. We did sweep previous daily low. We don't have to sweep previous daily low again for this accumulation to play out, but ideally that would be the one that I'd look at. Okay, but again, we do not have to take that out. We have a weekly taken, we have daily taken. Okay, we can just accumulate from here and continue pushing to the upside. What would really entice more bullishness for me and previous weekly high, okay, which is what I'm overall leaning for, more longs for the week, okay, is trading back into this insufficiency on the weekly, in the weekly perspective, trading back into that insufficiency and just kind of trading up and above it would really just tie up this bullishness for me for the week. But for the time being, we'll just stick with what we've mentioned so far. Previous area of accumulation, just keep an eye on those double bottoms. Let's move over to indices. It's been an incredible month. Okay, the month of June is right there. Very close to where we're at now, of course. Let's look here. On a weekly perspective, we are trading above last week's high. And we are trading into like about 50% of that wick right there. So we could get some rejection out of that area. But for the most part, you want to see more bullishness so we get this higher high going. Yeah, across the board. There is some divergence on SPX though, where we did create that high on SPX already. But across the board, that's the only one. Okay, so the NASDAQ being really close and not having much of previous area of distribution left, just kind of more wicks. I do see NASDAQ taking out this high. As in Dow, I'd feel like Dow will have a little bit more trouble getting up there, but overall, we want to see these highs getting taken, okay? So NASDAQ seems very likely. SPX already did it. On a weekly perspective, again, previous weekly high. We mentioned last week this imbalance. Okay, that imbalance was mentioned for accumulation. It was mentioned actually a week ago, Monday. We ended up planning out of that area very nicely. When we started this shorting, we were mentioning these equal lows. We made some more equal lows on the way there. We come down. We have accumulated out of that area. We have yet to come back and revisit. Friday just kept accumulating. I don't anticipate Monday to be any different than Friday has been so far. So just more longs to the upside. Let's see. Asian lows are still intact here. We have new week opening gap. That's still intact. We have yet to tap into it. We have previous daily high again taken. Yeah, this area gets my attention right here. The new week opening gap. That gets my attention for potential longs on NASDAQ. We are in a previous area of distribution. After we took out previous daily high, we could be shorting down into that area from this insufficiency. Personally, I'm not playing any shorts. At least at the time, as of current price action, I'm not looking for shorts. Tau, look at the monthly. It's just right there. Right? We're trading below the previous weekly high still. Let's kind of look at the downside liquidity. Previous weekly low taken before we ran. That's a good sign. Okay, previous daily lows left behind. Potential imbalance here. Okay, there's a potential imbalance. Usually when you see a fat ass imbalance and you see it on the other side, that right there is not surprising. When you see a really strong insufficiency, usually the other side just creates another one. This new day opening gap, Tuesday to Wednesday gap right there. I believe that was a holiday or news. I'm not sure. But that Tuesday to Wednesday gap is right there. You guys can see that we're traded down into it and showing some rejections. Now, I know I haven't outlined the US dollar for us yet. One second. But that's mainly because at the start of this week, there's not much. Okay? The start of this week, there's not much other than news tomorrow. It's a bank holiday for the US dollar. That's really about it. We have PMI and then 10 a.m. So that's mainly why this call started at 9:30. I'm not in a huge rush to get to PMI. So we're going to look forward to that PMI. Bank holiday tomorrow. I'm not sure if this is... I'm pretty certain, okay, that this is not the high volatility one, but I would still be aware of these news. Okay, be aware that red folder is at 2 p.m. tomorrow. USD, again, more red folders on Thursday. So you have red folder Monday, holiday Tuesday, red folder Wednesday, red folder all day Thursday, all morning Thursday, excuse me. And then lots of red folders at 8:30 Eastern on Friday for NFP. So lots of red folders this week. Last week we were chilling. Okay, this week's a little different, so just keep them very mindful. Keep your thoughts on it for sure. Okay, this daily imbalance that we left behind, that we're leaving behind here, I'm not saying that this is going to be the thing that's going to launch us forward, because we can definitely just go up from here. There's no need for daily imbalance, but that daily imbalance does get my attention for future works. So we'll see. The low here today created some relative equal bottoms right there. Let's go dissect that area that we're rejecting from a little bit more. We did come into this 1 hour imbalance. I really like this overlap overall. Okay, looks very attractive there. On the 1 hour, you can see intraday liquidity still standing there. So that would be my main objective for today if we don't hit that beforehand. You notice this a very nice unmitigated area. Okay, well, if NASDAQ and SPX both hit the previous daily high, then that area does get my attention. If, you know, we were just chilling and we just continued trading right through it, no evidence, then, you know, then it, never mind that, and then we'll just leave it. But given the unmitigated area, it does get my attention. And the divergence. So it's mainly the divergence that's bringing this candle specifically to my attention. Let's go to, so yeah, Dow Jones kind of trading in that area. This is the area that gets my attention right here, where we're at currently. We don't have to trade into the 4-hour imbalance because the 1 hour right here already got tapped into. So for me, at least that's enough. Got another 9 minutes before news. Let's dive into the minutes time frames. 15-minute coming into this previous area of distribution, took out previous hourly high and came into this previous area of distribution. I like the way price action is walking itself down. If we were to just continue walking itself down, that's totally fine. I won't be a part of it. That's the only thing. That's it. It doesn't mean that because I'm looking for longs, shorts can't play out. They definitely can. I'm going with my plan. My plan is to go long today. If the longs don't present themselves today, then I just don't trade today. Very simple, right? You just gotta keep it very simple like that. When you say things out loud too, it helps. I feel like there's a lot of power to saying things out loud. Nasdaq showing that accumulation again. That previous area of distribution didn't get, even though we swept that previous daily high, like it just wasn't it, you know? Nasdaq just failing to come any lower. Dow to the downside. SPX took out that Asian low, came into that gap. I feel like SPX is looking pretty good. Let's go look at it on the 15-minute. Came into this unmitigated area here. Getting a closure above here on SPX, I will be looking to go long out of this accumulation. Only if we can confirm that accumulation here on the 15-minute. Below these equal lows. You know, we don't show S&P enough love here, but very similar bias. Previous weekly high, previous monthly high. Daily is just extremely bullish. Above the previous high. Below the previous high. See, this is why Dow, I'm not really interested on Dow. Look at that. Look at Friday's high of June. June's high. Nasdaq, June's high. S&P already took out June's high. Right? So, on Dow, I mean, Nasdaq looks like we're going to go take it. But on Dow, it looks a little less probable. Okay. Last week, so let's look at our range, because I want to clear something up. Last week, a lot of people were telling me, when is Dow going to catch up to Nasdaq? And because Nasdaq was just pumping, right? Nasdaq was flying. And so a lot of people think that because one asset is flying or the assets are flying, that the one lagging behind should be catching up. Okay, be careful using that terminology. You're telling yourself that an asset needs to catch up. Assets technically don't need to do anything that we tell them to do, right? So let's start there. Now, when you're looking at your range, I'm always looking in terms of liquidity. So you can see that in terms of liquidity, this bearish range would be the it, right? Now, follow with me here. we're going to look at a Dow on the left on the 4-hour out of this range. And we're going to look at NASDAQ on the 4-hour out of this range. Okay? Because let's clarify something real quick on NASDAQ. All right? As these price action develops, okay, we have this same bearish range on the daily. Okay, so let's go to the bottom. Dow hits the low on the 26. NASDAQ hits the low on the 26. Boom, perfect. They both hit bottom, right? Okay, this is where it gets pretty interesting. Okay, let's go to, what was it? Let's go to the weekly. No, was it the daily? Yeah, back to the daily. Okay. This was the range. Sorry, I got the range incorrect on Dow. That's what was throwing me off. This was the range on Dow. And then on NASDAQ, let me go to the range as well. This was the range on NASDAQ. Okay. That one right there. Okay, so Dow range. And we're going to go to the 4-hour again. And then on NASDAQ as well. Okay. Okay, now we can see it a lot better. Okay, there's our range. There's a range on Dow. Dow, 50% and below, comes in on June 20th. 50%. We were in discount on June 20th. Okay, because we were on discount on June 20th. All right. Look at when NASDAQ came into discount. NASDAQ June 20th was up here. Look at June 20th. We're deep in premium while Dow was already traveling into discount. Now, when NASDAQ finally caught up to Dow instead and hit discount, only then on June 26, that's when the market reverses. So NASDAQ had to catch up to Dow instead of Dow catching up to NASDAQ. Okay? So you're just having like that breakdown, you know? Break your chart down all the way. Because instead of thinking that Dow has to catch up to NASDAQ, it's realizing that Dow's been in discount. NASDAQ was not. NASDAQ remained mainly in premium. Okay, NASDAQ, the very next day on the 27th, was already in premium. And so NASDAQ was slowing down because it was already in premium. Dow, on the other hand, once it was deep in discount, okay, on the 27th, at the end of the 27th, we're still in discount. Okay, it wasn't until the end of the 28th, 29th, that we came back into premium. On the 29th, on NASDAQ, we were moving lower. Why do you guys think we were moving lower on the 29th while Dow was exploding to the upside? Right? You have to look at your ranges a lot more. We have to start looking at our ranges a lot more to determine what one asset may be doing, because we can determine a lagging asset, or right, we can just study price action. Oh, this is our confirmation for the 15-minute break right here. Give me 1 second before I keep talking about all the other stuff. The range, that's the unmitigated area. This is a candle that gets my attention for us to come back and take out. There's no insufficiency here as of yet. So for me, the only thing that really gets my attention is this imbalance here. But even that imbalance, yeah, unmitigated candle was the blue area. Imbalance is right here. That unmitigated candle and imbalance are all together in the same area. There's PMI. Again, not a lot of insufficiency. We came into that area as well. these imbalances are the only areas that I'd consider longs from on indices. Except for Nasdaq. Nasdaq's just gonna pop. Nasdaq's super bullish. Wow, look at Nasdaq leaving that imbalance behind there on the 1 hour. We could potentially come back to that later on if we leave it. Yeah, no impulsive ass move. There's this 15-minute break. 15-minute break was confirmed. 30-minute remains bearish. 1 hour looks like we're going to pop to the upside. I'm leaning on the longs on SPX. Can I look at EU? Yeah, definitely. Let me set some alerts here. Actually, it's going to come down right now, so we're going to wait on that for a second. 1 hour is still bearish. Okay, just be aware of that. 1 hour is still bearish. 1 hour remains bearish. If we're looking at price action, this is the breaker right here. This right here is the breaker. And here's your 5-minute imbalance here. So if we accumulate from here, this could be a potential long setup right here. I just don't like this trend line. That's probably the only thing that's making me a little bit hesitant. But aside that, everything looks pretty good. Again, 15-minute breaker. Okay. And then you have imbalance. Yeah, looks very attractive. No, maybe if we came down a little bit lower. We definitely don't have to. Just yeah, I do believe we're gonna come climbing up from here. If we do get below the slow here, I would like to go long. It's just the only thing, there's no imbalance other than this 5-minute inverted imbalance. So the ideal entry would have been at the opening of that imbalance, but it's alright. Coming into this insufficiency, which we did, just trade it into very fast. Yeah, I would like to go long. Kind of redefine this 5-minute to this 3-minute. Price struggling to go higher. DXY. Look at the DXY. Hit her daily lows after all. I think we created some equal lows on the XY. See, the low of this is at 102.750. The low here, previous daily low, is at 102.751. We took it out. We took it out by a hair. That's super funny. Yeah, the XY is funny. I doubt that that's just gonna be it and we're reversed from there, but that's a really good area there. DXY. Just continue moving lower from that insufficiency. Again, this area here gets my attention. Unmitigated area. Oh, that was Dow Jones. That's so funny. I thought I was looking at SPX. Nothing's gonna continue climbing. Yeah, I'm not attracted to this right here. So I may not push buttons. The other one that really got my attention is Dow Jones. And Dow Jones is the one that I'm feeling is the weakest in terms of longs. Being that it has that bearish divergence. If we make it back down here, I'm going to put my stop loss below the low of the imbalance on the 5 minute. And then to immediate target, only if this makes sense. Right there. Yeah. That 30-second ended up playing out nicely. I know we mentioned that imbalance. It's playing out very nicely. We came back into it one more time. It's just the way we're leaving is so slow. What's an inverted imbalance? Inverted imbalance is, yeah, that's the area. If anybody did pull it, nice. If you're not in it, you know, it is what it is. But that 15-minute breaker was it right there. Just gonna take that stuff off my chart. An inverted imbalance is an imbalance that's on the opposite side that is still currently being used. So for example, this bearish imbalance, I guess the inverted part of the imbalance is not really on the imbalance itself, but the name comes from the use of the imbalance. Okay, so when I say an inverted imbalance, that means I'm looking at the opposing side. If I'm looking to go long, usually you want to see a bullish imbalance, but an inverted imbalance would be a bearish imbalance for long purposes, or vice versa, a bullish imbalance for short purposes. Because I mean, that's how we verified this area. We have that 5-minute imbalance plus this 15-minute breaker, right? And that overlap between the two, that right there, that's your magic spot. That is the area where your entry would essentially be at. Or if you wanted to wait for more evidence, like I did, and missed the fucking trade, it's really up to you. Still have a little bit long ways to climb. But overall, SPX looks amazing. Yeah, I'm just not a part of this. There wasn't much of an insufficiency for me to really go off of, other than Dow Jones. Dow Jones was the only one that provided that imbalance and breaker, not just a breaker. Again, it's moving very slowly. It's a holiday tomorrow, so NASDAQ with the divergence. mitigating out of that area. Will NASDAQ come for the lows? That'd be very interesting. I'd love for NASDAQ to come to the lows. Remember that imbalance that I was mentioning on the 1 hour? Notice this. Look, notice the high of the 1 hour currently. Boom. We came right to the high of the previous 1 hour, rebalancing price here. Okay, rebalancing price coming into this previous area of accumulation right there, and an inverted imbalance. Okay, so really pretty sure we're gonna get an accumulation out of that area into the highs again. But hey, we still have divergence. This divergence could be leaning us to some more downside. Again, we have divergence across the board. NASDAQ could be the one that took out liquidity to then come seek liquidity. Right? So I'm not playing the NASDAQ with the divergence on the longs. I think that's a dangerous game. I think we should allow price action to develop a little bit more, to develop certainty. Because you want to be certain. Like, you don't want to be unsure of your trade. Like, you want to be a little bit more certain than that about your setup. So I'm me not even push a button today, which is awesome. I take those days as wins. Took the long position on Dow after 1 minute imbalance, but closed because I wasn't sure. Yeah, I mean, once you pull it, just leave it, I would say. Like, being unsure and then still pulling it, that's impulsive. That's a reaction. And I'm not saying that to hurt anybody's feelings, but being unsure beforehand and then, you know, sitting on your hands, being patient for the setup to develop, that right there is a skill set. But being unsure of your setup and still pulling it, you're just setting yourself up for I wouldn't say failure, but you're setting yourself up for future mistakes. Because if you get in the habit of opening and closing trades, your mind will train itself to find setups where you can open and close in trades as well. So I guess setups that you're unsure of. So just really be really cautious with what you do every day when you show up to the tradings, to the charts, for sure. Sometimes Smart Money Com says it's liquidity, but how can I not be a part of the liquidity? I'm guessing is your answer. I mean, it's your question. How can you not be a part of the liquidity? To be honest, bro, I highly recommend you go over through my YouTube page and you review the liquidity videos, because you have a lot of questions on liquidity, but I do believe that you should go review some content that will clear up all of that. Because I have a lot of content on liquidity, but that question is so broad that it opens up a huge lecture that I'm not diving into today. Because again, I have recordings on all that stuff already. So liquidity is the name of the game. If anybody wants to drop it on the comments, I'd appreciate it. But liquidity is the name of the game is the name of the playlist on the Inner Wealth YouTube page. You avoid becoming a part of the liquidity by identifying it. Now, I can't tell you guys that I haven't willingly been a part of the liquidity. I've definitely willingly been a part of the liquidity. Right? Like, I've willingly known that this is accumulating, but it's going to take out, let's say, like another high. So I will be a part of the liquidity buildup to that high, but I'm not going to take it all the way. So identifying liquidity, I guess doesn't necessarily always keep you away from being a part of the liquidity, but at least will keep you away from being part of the liquidity sweep, right? Because you don't want to be a part of the liquidity sweep, but you do want to be a part after the liquidity sweep has been taken. NASDAQ distributing, again, that divergence was pretty strong. Dow is climbing higher. This kind of confirms that divergence that I was talking to you guys about. Where was it? On the 1 hour? Yeah, Dow on the 1 hour having that unmitigated area. We could be making our way into that right now. NASDAQ showing us this distro. Okay. I'm not surprised about the divergence at the top, creating some double tops. Very normal. Right? That's how you identify the liquidity. You identify the divergence, right? But because you identify the divergence and liquidity, now you can short into the liquidity that it's shorting into, right? This is liquidity that has been taken to the upside. So now we've built upside liquidity after we took liquidity already, right? So then you won't look for more upside liquidity. So therefore, because you're not looking for seeking out more upside liquidity, then you go into the smaller time frames, right? And then you don't anticipate these highs to be taken because you already identified that liquidity to the upside has been taken. So therefore, that's how you start scaling into the smaller time frames, because then you start finding strong points in which price should respect. And if price should respect these areas, then and only then have you shrunk down the range that you're trading in which you can dissect into the smaller time frames. But the dissection that doesn't start in the smaller time frames. It's you work your way down to it. Yeah, it's much more than internal and external liquidity. It's way deeper than internal and external liquidity. Matter of fact, sometimes I wish I'd never taught that. It throws so much people way off more than it has brought anybody help. I feel like, because yeah, at first, honestly, guys, until you're really comfortable with liquidity, my word of advice: don't worry about internal and external liquidity. Worry about normal 4 types of liquidity: previous monthly high, previous daily, previous monthly high, previous weekly, monthly low. Sorry, previous monthly high and low, previous weekly high and low, previous daily high and low. Asian high and low, or intraday's highs and lows, which is Asians and 4 and 1 hours highs and lows. So once you feel comfortable with those 4, I would say go into internal and external liquidity. But until then, just kind of accept that it's a very advanced concept that you don't need to be profitable. And if that's not something that a lot of you may want to hear, because internal liquidity is helpful, then continue to dive into it. If it has helped you, continue to dive into it. But just understand this part. If you're seeing internal and external liquidity, but you're not seeing the other 4, which is previous monthly high and low, previous weekly high and low, previous daily high and low, Asian highs and lows, and previous hourly highs and lows, if you're not seeing those and being able to utilize those with consistency, forget about internal and external liquidity and just focus on those 4. I promise you. Okay, EU. Previous daily high taken. I like this a lot. The accumulation on DXY, 4 hour, maintaining that bullishness after it took out liquidity. Yeah, the shorts into this low looks very probable. I would not question that. I think that is very clean, and that is going to short very nicely. 15-minute can confirm that. 5-minute already has. This is the imbalance that gets my attention. Okay, a lot of people would be like, which imbalance do I pay attention to? That one, bottom one, or the top one? Let me tell you guys. The imbalance that manipulated price above these highs is neither that one or this one? It's this one. That's the one I'm looking for shorts to short from. Okay. I do like the shorts a lot. You guys have a target, and now you have a nice area of potential distribution. Okay. Dow distributing after 9 a.m. candle high sweep. If we respect the 1 hour structure, it goes down. Yes. If it respects the hourly structure, it goes down. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I swept 9 a.m.'s high. SPX2 swept 9 a.m.'s high. NASDAQ to me looks the most attractive, given that it has all of that liquidity and already took the upside liquidity. To me, NASDAQ looks the most attractive. But no imbalance yet. And sometimes these imbalances are just not clear in the lower time frames, which is fine. Sometimes you'll have to wait for the higher time frames to get these areas. The imbalance that swept liquidity, that previous daily high manipulated price to go to the upside, is this one right here. That's the one I'm paying attention to. Okay, I know that we don't have any imbalances here. I can see that on very clearly on the 1 minute, but that's the area that I'm looking at for potential shorts on Dow. I mean on NASDAQ, okay? If we make it up there, awesome. If we don't, awesome. Dow may have a little bit of more trouble moving to the downside, but overall, I do like the respect of the hourly that we're getting across the board and the divergence that we see on all indices. So let's see what happens in this area. Right, we broke the 5 minute. S&P 5 minutes still bullish. 15 minutes still bullish. Yeah, like I said, you know, for me, probably won't push any buttons. DXY's gonna move to the upside, and these guys look like they're just gonna continue pumping to the upside. So, giving that, I'm probably just gonna stay out. Yeah, so peep DXY swept Asian liquidity, accumulated here on the 15 minute, and it's holding that 15 minute accumulation and the 5 minute after it came back and swept some lows. Okay, 1 minute accumulating as well after we took out the lows. I do like this low that took out liquidity. I am going to set that as a potential stop loss. If we get back into this imbalance, I will be going long. And you know what? Stop loss will be here. Right there. Same target. Imbalance created right there. We could just respect that and continue going higher. I wouldn't be surprised. See how that imbalance was created on the 1 minute? Like we created this one, but then here in the last few minutes we created this one. And then you can move your entry to that point, but then your stop loss would be super fat. So me personally, I'm gonna keep it down here where we originally had it. And if we end up leaving, guys, we end up leaving and we don't get a trade, but it is what it is. Just be patient. Yeah, I believe that this is going to respect this area. If we do come down into it, though, that's the area that I would like to see. Oh, there it is. Let's see if we come down into it. Just poke it, you know? Go a nice little stab. There it is. Oh, my stop loss is meant to be right there. So this will be the only button that I'm pushing today. Okay. Just gonna let it kind of do its thing. And then I got asked for GU. Sorry, I was just waiting for that. How would I break it down? From top to bottom, just like how I break it down any other chart. The exact same way. Looking at my bullishness, the way that we're printing forward to, and it's that previous monthly high. Looking at this whole range here on the weekly perspective. 50% or below seems to have this liquidity. And 50% above has that liquidity there in premium. So that one seems very, very likely. Okay. Daily's walking itself down. EU and GU divergence because EU took out that previous daily high. GU didn't. So divergence there. I love to see divergence. Okay. See, EU took out that high. GU fell too. So yeah, no, the initial high, the low of the day does get my attention. That's basically how I'd break it down. There wouldn't be nothing more special to it. I just wait for these areas. But yeah, just shorts. Make the most sense. 15-minute broke, created an insufficiency. I'd wait for that. Same way as EU. Not too far apart. But I don't, if EU hits it, I don't expect GU to hit it. If GU hits it, I don't expect EU to hit it. But I will say these are flying. But indices have had a mind of their own. So I'm just kind of let it be. I'm not going to be shooting for, or yeah, no, I am going to be shooting for that high. But first, we're going to take some off at this high. Okay. I'm just going to leave a limit there to take a good chunk off of my trade here. I'm going to be taking 50% off right at that initial high. And I'm going to be calling it good right there, guys. And let that 50% hit there, and then the rest hit up here at 44.98 whole level. Okay. Again, DXY is bullish, so if this ends up distributing below all of these lows, that's totally fine. We'll let it do its thing, okay? Again, 1 hour still bearish. Look at the 1 hour on the left. I mean on the right. 1 hour still bearish. DXY is bullish. So, again, will not be surprised if we end up getting taken out. But it's alright, like I said. It just makes sense. And if it made sense, pull it. And then the market will make sense out of it, or it won't. The market is always humbling, right? So we'll just let it do its thing. Dow just climbing up slowly, very slowly. Again, Dow Asian highs. I'm actually going to put an alert there. NASDAQ just taking the fattest shit of its life, which makes me think that, again, SPX could be doing the exact same thing and do exactly that what NAS is doing. Okay, be aware that SPX could do exactly what NAS is doing. All right, the divergence between them is there. Only one button for me today, nothing else. NASDAQ, remember our bearish imbalance? Look where NASDAQ came back into. Look at where NASDAQ came back into. We were down here when we called out this inverted bullish imbalance. Okay, NASDAQ comes back to it and just distributes out of it. That right there is the entry point, that imbalance there. You can't be a part of the liquidity if liquidity has already been taken. Anyways, beautiful price action delivery. Divergence is definitely there. This 1 minute distribution and 1 minute imbalance. Okay, look at that. 1 minute distribution, 1 minute imbalance in a previous area of distribution. Okay, we distributed, created insufficiency. We could now continue moving to the downside. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to touch anything. Just going to let price action do its thing. You may not feel sure about it, but follow the uncertainty. You predetermined your bias, stick to it. Even if you're unsure now, it's too late. You already pushed the button. That's it. Train yourself not only to hold your trades to the take profit, but allowing them to breathe all the way through if needed to your stop loss. Because your stop loss may teach you a lot more than you opening and closing it. Yeah, I'm not looking at anything else at the moment. I would not, I wouldn't just straight up long NAS. The divergence, I'm telling you guys, pay attention to that. Okay, and there's divergence here. Don't know why, don't know what the hell is going on, but this could still smack down super hard, you know? What time is it? Let's see. 10:35. It's 8:35 here in Utah. Guys, I think we're going to call it good there. Again, stop loss remains the same. Biases remain the same. NASDAQ to Asian lows. And new week opening gap. Dow, potential Asian high, SPX. I believe that SPX will more than likely push down a little bit lower, given current market environments and DXY doing this very aggressive accumulation. Okay, so my eyes go down a little bit lower in terms of longs. Okay, we're gonna leave price action do its thing, right? We already came into imbalance, down, up, down. I am gonna mitigate some loss, but that's about it. We're gonna let the rest do its thing, and then if nobody understood that part though, balance price action. When I see an imbalance, I want to see it tapped into and explode. Okay, I don't want to see a bullish imbalance down, up, into it. You know what I mean? That to me shows me that balance has been, that price action has been rebalanced. Gonna leave price action to do its thing. But yeah, guys, mitigate your loss a little bit, but overall, I believe that we're gonna continue pumping. Yeah, and if we provide another accumulation with an insufficiency to the upside, then I'll participate and add that risk back on, and then maybe take it to that high. But if not, I'll turn this into a 2, and I'll leave a 1 up there, and I'll let price action do its thing. But for the most part, I want you guys to understand that after this, after I hop on here, I'm going to go drink my tea. I'm going to go enjoy my day. I'm not going to watch price action minute by minute. I'm not going to watch price action tick by tick. I'm not going to sit here and watch price action too closely, because then my mind will develop its own opinions and its own narrative and its own question and its own doubts. And I am just not going to allow my mind to play those games on me, right? Because too many times my mind has done that to me early in my days. So this is kind of like what I've developed in its tactic. I just step away. So I'm going to step away right now. Got a couple of things to do in terms of breakfast. I'm hungry. And yeah, I'm going to just enjoy that. Take care, guys. Thank you for hopping on. We'll let price action do its thing. Again, I'm long overall. I'm not going to just sit here and try to take shorts, which is why we didn't take NAS, for me at least. Yep. Gonna let price action this thing. SPX may follow suit with NAS. Look at that. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Like that's not a good imbalance. There's no imbalance there left. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in here. I know that not always are we going to be catching trades. That's why the whole thing is done 1 day a week, so we don't put that expectation on ourselves that we need to trade every day or catch something every time we come to the charts, right? Allow price action to do its thing. Breathe. Allow your setups to roll. Trust yourself all the way through. And follow your plan, most of all, okay? There's a reason why you guys have a plan and you developed it over these months, years, so forth. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for Technical Tuesdays. I know that I was going to... So today I was going to do the giveaway details. But I was supposed to do that at the beginning of the call, to be honest, when there was a lot more people. And so I totally messed that up. I was really into that meditation session we had this morning. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Really into that meditation session we had this morning. I enjoyed it a lot. I haven't meditated all weekend, so that was my first meditation in a couple of days, and it felt amazing. So yeah, guys, let me know if you have any questions. I will see you guys tomorrow for Technical Tuesdays. Just so you guys know, in case you are not aware of it yet, Technical Tuesdays has a new time. Okay, Technical Tuesdays has a new time, all right? A new schedule. We will no longer be meeting at night for Technical Tuesdays. Tomorrow, I will actually be seeing you guys for New York session again. It won't be at the open. I will see you guys at 11 a.m. Eastern, okay? 11 a.m. Eastern. Now, guys, tomorrow is a bank holiday. So I know a lot of people are going to be busy. A lot of people are going to be out with their families. And a lot of people just simply won't be trading. If that is the case, guys, tomorrow's Technical Tuesdays, you don't have to be on your computer. You don't have to be in your office. You don't have to be any of that. All you need is a phone, a pair of headphones if you're going to be somewhere loud, and for you to tune into the details. I'll show you guys how you guys can be a part of this giveaway. Okay. Price action ended up just doing his thing. I'm going to let the target just kind of stay so we can review that tomorrow during Technical Tuesdays. Okay, you don't have to do anything, guys, tomorrow. In terms of charts, tomorrow is a U.S. bank holiday. If you guys trade any majors or U.S. assets, tomorrow is probably not the day to be pulling the trigger, especially if you're in a challenge. Okay, tomorrow is not the highest probable date for you to be putting your challenge on the line. Okay, so tomorrow we'll do a lot more than just technical analysis. We'll do a little bit more of self-evaluation. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That's the new time for Technical Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'll see you guys tomorrow for our first new Technical Tuesdays schedule. Okay, take care and clap easy. Damn, these NAS shorts doing their thing. Targets hit on NAS, by the way. Targets hit on NAS. Dow is going to take some time. You know, bullishness, or it's going to take its time. I don't think that we're going to get a new low on SPX either. I think that we're just going to play within these areas. So let price action play around. Tomorrow, it's probably going to play some more, especially being the bank holiday. These guys probably won't even open. So, guys, don't be in such a hurry to get to where you want to be. You're exactly where you need to be, all right? Have an amazing rest of your week. Talk to you guys soon. Reach out in case you have any questions. More than likely, the answers are within the 100+ videos that we have on this channel, all right? I'm happy to direct you. Take care, guys. Peace.